Hello, everybody, and I'm very pleased to be here and to present you the topics of hearables as personal hearing products. And it's a very exciting time to us because we have all this progress with electronics, with acoustic components, with algorithms, and today also with the legislation, with the expected over-the-counter hearing aids category, and also with some changes in the FDA regulations. So thanks to all this progress, we now have the category of devices that we call hearables. And hearables, it's a very broad term. So we actually coined a new term which we named personal hearing products, and these are hearables that also include this additional functionality of hearing enhancement. So we will talk today about personal hearing products as emerging alternative to hearing aids. But before the talk, I would like to introduce myself and what we are doing. So my name is Dr.Goldin, and I'm the founder and CEO of Alango Technologies. Alango Technologies has been around for about 15 years, and we are DSP software technologies provider for voice and audio enhancement. So we are relatively small companies, but we have been pretty successful with more than 30 million product licenses given in different areas for different customers. So our main areas are automotive, mobile phone accessories, conferencing. We improve the quality of voice communication and music experience in these areas. About 4 years ago, we started leveraging our experience into hearing enhancement in space. And that's what we will talk about. We'll talk about some facts about hearing loss. We will go through the evolution of hearing aids, and we will see where this progress took us. We will discuss what are hearables, and we will talk about hearables versus hearing aids, and we will talk about the future of hearing aids and cooperation with audiologists to bring it to end users. And then I hope we will have time for questions because the presentation is relatively long. So, some facts about hearing loss. The world population in 2017 is 7.5 billion people, and according to World Health Organization, about 15% of that number, which is 1.2 billion people, have hearing loss of more than 25 decibels. 5% of the population have a disabling hearing loss, which is more than 40 dB in a good ear, which is a huge number of 375 million people. The good news is that 95% of hard of hearing people can be helped by hearing amplifications or hearing aids. So let's go through the history of hearing aids that will help us to define the future. So the first known hearing aid is probably just hand cap, and it provides some solutions. It's free, it's still in use. It provides about 5-10 decibels of gain in a limited frequency range. Now, the next was natural trumpet air, which is documented from 13th century. And it has an increased frequency range and increased gain of 10 or 20 decibels. We have here these horns or shells used as a hearing enhancement devices. Then came the bronze trumpet era from 17th century, larger frequency range and more gain. And that was the era when the size, the larger the better. So the amplification and the frequency range directly depended on the size of the device. Then carbon era from the beginning of 20th century, and actually the electricity was utilized in hearing aids as soon as electricity became a commodity. So again, increased frequency range from 300 hertz to 3 kilohertz, and increased gain of 30 or 40 decibels. These devices were bulky, they were not convenient, heavy, and the quality of sound was pretty bad. But the additional amplifications was worth it. We don't know about the price of this device. I couldn't find information about the price of this device, for example. Now, vacuum tubes. Vacuum tubes was a real revolution. It was the first electronic device that provided hearing amplifications. And again, the hearing aid industry was a leading industry in terms of using the new electronics. Increased frequency range to 4 kilohertz, increased gains up to 70 decibels. This device, we can call them portables because they look like today like a desktop computer. You can bring it, potentially move them from space to space. But it was a revolution because with this device, with electronics, you could already make a hearing test. You can play different frequencies, different frequency ranges, and you can do amplifications in different frequency ranges. The cost of this device was $135, which was not bad. Now, as vacuum tubes were shrinking, they were introduced. There was this big progress in hearing aids, and they became really wearable or underwearable. And that was the beginning of era when the people started trying to conceal their devices. So please pay attention to the cost of these devices. And that was the last time when the cost of the hearing aid actually was reduced with the advance of the technology. Transistors made a revolution in many areas, and actually the hearing aid industry was one of the first benefited from it. The first transistor was manufactured in 1950, and in 1953 there was already a product on the market utilizing transistors, and that was a pocket type of device, and the pocket size devices are still in use today, so it's not far from what we have today. The cost, there was a mild increase in the cost, and but compared to the advantage that these pocket devices provided, it was a really uncomparable. With the further advancement of the technology, behind the ear devices, transistor devices were introduced, and we can call these devices as pre-hearables, actually. The cost of this device, as we know, was jumped, and that was already the time when we see the significant cost increase. I mean, the performance of the device in terms of the hearing benefit was compared to the pocket device was the advantage was not very high, but the size was the reason for the increased cost probably. So it is from 60s we have these devices. And then came a digital hearing aids era, probably from 80s, and that was also a revolution because it allowed to introduce a new type of technologies that you couldn't do with analog devices. So feedback reduction, noise reduction, adaptive directivity, binaural processing all became possible only with introduction of digital technologies. And that was probably the last revolution in hearing aids. The rest was just the evolution, introducing more algorithms, more software, but it was already a gradual evolution. So From historical perspectives, if we see the evolution of hearing aids, we see the reduction of size. That was the main trend, the main what we see from the history. So now we can ask ourselves $1 billion question: what will be the next small thing? And to answer this question, we first need to look with all this progress, where are we now with hearing aids? So in developed countries, there are about 70 million people with disabling hearing loss, and from them about 20% use hearing aids. In developing countries, there are about 300 million people with disabling hearing loss, and from them less than 3% use hearing aids. So the situation is not very good. The hearing aid uptake is rather low. So we can ask the question, why? Why is that like this? So we define several reasons, and I think that statistically the most important is cost. So basic devices today are sold for between $1,000 and $2,000, and top-of-the-line devices are sold from $3,000 to $5,000. And if you compare hearing aid with the car, then and the technology that implemented in those devices, then you will see that there is some disbalance here. And the cost of hearing aids grew steadily from 60s, from the first pocket transistor hearing aids, about 10 times till now. And during the last 10 years, the price of hearing aids increased about 67%, while the cost of other electronic devices, which are not less sophisticated, actually decreased by 50%. The reason two, stigma. Hearing aids are medical devices by definition, so they are associated with elderly handicapped people. About half the people with hearing loss avoid seeking help. Can we try to change it? I think we tried with this style of advertisement, but it doesn't work very well. Reason three, limited functionality. Basic hearing aids mainly provide hearing enhancement. Their frequency range, where they provide real amplification, is limited, and they have a very limited connectivity. Actually, this is what was published in Hearing Review magazine this March. And what we see, there was a study of top-of-the-line hearing aids from the 6 big manufacturers. And that was for receiver in channel hearing aids. And what we see that the actual frequency range is between 900 and 4.5 kilohertz, which is very low if you compare it to the human auditory response or music frequency range, or even vocal speech range. So actually, amplification, the real amplifications in hearing aids corresponds only to high frequencies and what is called narrow band speech communication. The first three reasons bring us the fourth reason, unmet expectations. Actually, you buy a very expensive device that you may think make you looking older, and this device does not perform well. So the statistics that 20% of people who buy hearing aids return them, and 70% just not satisfied, and 7% keep them in the drawer. And the statistics said that during the last years, the user satisfaction was not growing fast, and at least it was growing in a much slower pace than the prices of the hearing aids there at that time. So what is the biggest problem of hearing aids? And the biggest problems of hearing aids is a small size. Small size brings us a lot of problems. And for example, small size brings us very small speakers that cannot provide us a wide frequency range, so it impacts the functionality. Small size means small internal space, so we cannot use more chips for connectivity. It brings us small microphones, which has low SNR or very expensive microphones. It forces us to use small batteries, meaning we have a limited DSP power. It means expensive design and expensive components. And small size actually tells us that we would like to conceal this device, meaning that there is something bad in others seeing it. So what can we do? And as Albert Einstein once said, no problem can be solved by the same kind of thinking that created it. So we need to do something else. So let's first look at to understand what to do. Let's look at what people are looking for when they are searching for hearing aids, or shopping for hearing aids. So the first thing they are looking is 58% is looking for functionality that will deliver them the really hearing enhancement. 26% are concerned about the cost. Only 16% look for cosmetics, and cosmetics does not always mean small size. So to understand what will happen, we can learn from the history. So we can learn from the history of mobile phones. Mobile phones, from the moment of their inception, were shrinking in size till 2003. And what happened in 2003? And actually, the mobile phones were shrinking in size and remained phones that could do only voice communication. What happened in 2003? iPhone was introduced, and suddenly the size became not an issue. Connectivity, functionality, all kind of services, that became important. So looking at the hearing aid evolution, we will try to predict what will happen. So we need to replace the size limitations with style and functionality. And that means personal hearing products. Connectivity, functionality, style. And these products may look different. They include devices, over-the-neck devices, all kinds of shapes. But connectivity, functionality, and style, that's what will distinguish them from hearing aids. So, personal hearing products, what are they? Let's define them. Let's define this category. First of all, these are wearable consumer electronic devices. These devices will connect to the world via mobile phone. They will allow voice communication and music experience. They will deliver various information via users' auditory system, maybe some data, some queries. And that is the definition for hearables. We said we want personal hearing products. Personal hearing products will add more features. Enhanced hearing of ambient sounds, and allow hearing personalization. So let's look at hearing aids and PHPs side by side. First, they're in a different category. We have hearing aids are wearable medical devices, meaning they are associated with like insulin pens, pacemakers, and all kind of implantable devices. And wearable and PHPs are wearable consumer electronic devices today associated with sport, fitness, and active lifestyle. Another difference, appearance. Hearing aids are made as small as possible to conceal their presence. PHPs will be stylish and fashionable, making you look connected, making you look modern. Cost. Hearing aids are very expensive devices, jewelries, and PHPs are inexpensive due to the larger size and computer electronic components, so they cost like a mobile phone. Performance. Due to this larger size, PHPs will allow larger batteries, meaning more powerful DSPs for better algorithms, so they can have a potential to outperform hearing aids in their main task. And the frequency range. As we discussed before, the frequency range of receiver and channel hearing aids is very limited, while the speakers of PHPs are hi-fi speakers with the wide frequency range covering almost all music range. Connectivity. The basic hearing aid models are not connected to anything, and that which is a disability. And hearing aid companies are recognizing that, and then in the top-end models they introduced some limited connectivity, which is mostly made for iPhone. And PHPs are by definition connected devices through their mobile phones to the world. And this connection allows additional services, additional data, the communication. So what can we expect from PHPs or hearables? We can expect improvement overall hearing. We can expect improvement of comprehension of phone calls, of ambient sounds, of conversation, of music, eventually leading to the higher quality of life. PHPs may be as good as hearing aids or better in hearing enhancement. They can include the same technologies used in the top hearing aids, like adaptive directional microphones, noise reduction, binaural processing, and the multi-channel dynamic range compression, all that you can find in the best hearing aids. They will include built-in hearing assessment, and so from your mobile phone, you will be able to check your hearing preferences, and after that, the processing parameters will be uploaded to the device. And it will be possible to measure the hearing threshold, which defines as the maximum amplifications we need. But it will also be possible to measure most comfortable level. That means when we don't need amplification anymore. So we can do even more than traditional audiogram provides. But after we have this automatic tuning, we're all different, so we may need to somehow to fine-tuning our device. And this fine-tuning can be done from the mobile phone different ways. One of them is to have a kind of a dot on the mobile phone screen that the user will move upon reaching the best sound point. Something like this. And of course, this fine-tuning will be done differently in different environments. What else can we expect? Hands-free phone calls with personalized sound. We can also expect some speech modifications. We can slow down the speech in real time, thus improving comprehension of fast talkers, foreign language, or recorded messages. We can expect making the music personal, so you will be able to hear the music in a wide frequency range with personally amplified sounds, and also sound amplified according to the environment where you are, according to the noise where you are. And it will allow you to enjoy music, but also stay safe and alert. So you can hear music on the street or TV listening and have some TV listening experience. And the technology will amplify important sounds around you, block ambient noises, and allow you to be, again, state alert. Active noise cancellation. It's already in consumer electronic devices. We can combine with PHP. So and active noise cancellation actually creates anti-noise inside your ear. So actually you have noise, you have anti-noise, which is the opposite wave. So they cancel each other, creating a virtually silent space in your ear. So you can actually hear all the sounds better without the ambient noise. Live music enhancement mode. Due to the larger frequency range, we can have a special mode with much higher upper frequencies, so you will be able to enjoy music. Classical music, for example, has a very large frequency range and very large dynamic range. So you will be able to hear this, to enjoy, to participate, to enjoy this music and feel the difference in the music. So by definition, PHPs are connected devices. So we can connect them naturally by Bluetooth through to the auxiliary devices, which may be the same device just working in both ways. It can be connected to a remote microphone, and then it will shorten the distance between the talker and the user, thus providing a better sound. All-in-one device, again, we don't need anything extra. It can work as a TV listening system, again. And in the same device used as a transmitter, transmitting to a couple of other devices, and each one will have its own sound amplified according to the user preferences. It can work as a two-way intercom. Two devices can communicate with each other, providing something new for two customers, going out or doing some activity, or even inside the house. They can communicate directly without any additional link between each other. A telecoil receiver, there is no problem to introduce the telecoil receiver into PHPs. We do this. And then you will have all the functionality also customized like a hearing aid. So there's not a problem here. With PHPs, because again, it's a connected device, we can introduce voice recognition capability. So you will be able to change your profiles just by talking to the device. It's not a science fiction. And the next step will be to use voice interface for cloud-based services. Siri, Google Now, Cortana, Alexa, that will transform your device into a new kind of device, which we call virtual personal assistant. And more. We can have other qualities that are not directly related to hearing enhancement, but important. Intelligent fall detector that will call automatically and detect the fall and call automatically some predefined number on your phone. Emergency call balance, wireless leash for your smartphone, so it will signal you that you forgot your funds or you've forgotten your smartphone. Token organizer is vibration alarm. So we are planning we can have some cooperation with audiologists. For example, we can limit the amplification made by the user by 40 decibels and to unlock this feature to professionals only. And because it's important, if you have a very high frequency loss, it's better to be done by a professional. We can provide special tools to professionals to do more advanced customization, both face-to-face or remote. We have a connected device. And since we have connected devices, we can create a teleaudiology network. And teleaudiology, it's a new thing. It's an emerging thing. And that allows the audiologist to tune the user's device. Actually, because PHPs are a new category of devices. It's today called Internet of Things devices. So the audiologist may have a full control of user's device by remote through the mobile phone. He can or she can help to have to make a hearing test, to get the parameters, to find the best parameters, and to upload them into the device, again, through the network. So now we have a time for questions, and we'll start to my questions to myself. Just one moment, we will go through this. So first, can PHPs serve as a replacement to hearing aids? So within PHPs can provide an alternative to hearing aids to 95% of hearing people who don't use hearing aids today. Question 2. Are PHPs a threat to the hearing aid industry? PHPs or hearables will definitely bring disruptive changes, but the hearing aid industry will remain. Implantable devices, invisible hearing aids are two examples of the devices that will remain, definitely. What is the maximum realistic amplifications provided by PHPs? I think it will be, with the proper design, it can be up to 40 decibels. Can PHPs provide even higher amplifications? Yes, potentially yes, but with a custom mold and professional feeding. And can PHPs help with conductive hearing loss? We were talking about air conduction hearing loss, but what about bone conduction devices? There are bone conduction headsets today that can be a basis for PHP, so potentially it's possible. And the last questions to me, why we are here, why we, Alango Technologies, are here? Because we are developing licensable software that allows Bluetooth head manufacturers to transform their products into powerful PHPs. We are a technology provider. Together with that, we developed today our own line of concept products that we call We're in Here. There is a booth, our booth here, unfortunately, will probably be closed, but some of you might see it. We were demonstrating here two products. One is called Be Here, which is a stylish Bluetooth headset that works as a personal sound amplifier with additional capabilities that we're talking about. And Salt, which is smart assistive listening transceiver, which is also includes some health-related functionalities like fall detector and emergency call balance. So now it's time for your questions.
Well, thank you for that comprehensive overview. The history was quite interesting with the trumpets. The question I had as you were going through all of the functionality of PHPs was how much of that is on the market versus this will happen. I noticed you were saying will a lot. But then when you got to the end, it sounds as though the two concept products that you have incorporate a good deal of the functionality that you were describing. So I'm interested in just, specifically what your products contain. And also, are you interested in selling to the U.S. market? And what do you view as your game plan for that?
Yes, I was mainly talking about the future, but part of this future is already here. Yesterday we had a presentation, and I think it was also before yesterday there was a product demonstration of new Hear, which is IQ Buds. So these are in-ear devices that also have hearing enhancement capabilities. Yes, so it's a part of the future. So devices may be of different shape. And there is no one device that will fit all. It's like otherwise, there would have been Bluetooth headsets that fits everyone. No, they're all different. We have different ears, different preferences, different styles of life. So, but part of the features is already here. So there are a few companies now introducing such products. We have IQ Buds, Bose earphones. They're also in this, and we have Doppler Labs, and we are also in an advanced stage of developing such products. One of them, this is Be Here, and that's something that is working. You can try it, you can use it. These are pre-production samples, engineering samples. They will be on the market. They will be in production in this August, September. And we are definitely looking for the distribution channels now, and we will start from US, and Rus will actually lead this activity from our company. This device is what I describe it as a PHPs, and it includes the functionality of personal sound amplifier, Bluetooth headset, and assistive listening devices, all in one, all customizable with the hearing test that you can do on your mobile phone. So this is the first device. The second device, it's what's actually on some pictures. I used that pictures. It's Salt. It's a smart assistive listening transmitter. And these devices, it has all the functionality of this device, but this is a different form factor. So this one is very nice. You can use it all the day. You can use it whenever you need it. This is a more kind of body or clip type hearing aid, like pocket talker or something like this. It has also again an advanced functionality. It has additionally 4 microphones here, so in the device they are used in 2 cases. One, when the situation is very noisy, you can just point it to the sound source of interest, and that will have like a very directional microphone. Or you can use this device as an auxiliary device, and then it will be used as a remote microphone or TV transmitter. It has a big button here, which is the emergency call button, and it has a built-in accelerometer, which will work as an intelligent fault detector. It has a telecoil, built-in telecoil. It's a Swiss Army knife for hearing impaired. So this will be it will be probably in Q1 next year. So we are working on that. We have other devices in the pipeline for more active type of users. So it's moving, and we believe that we have, as I said, we're a technological company. We are licensing our solution that we coincidentally call Hearphones, but our name is about 2 years older than Bose. So we are licensing this solution to Bluetooth headset manufacturers. We have some customers that will release products to the market also soon, and we believe there will be many companies in the future that provide this functionality. Bluetooth headset, in terms of hardware, today has everything that is included in top-of-the-line hearing aid, even more. So there is no reason why this functionality is not included into or may not be included into it. So it's a software-only solution. So, but we are in the beginning at this moment, and we all, of course, wait for the changes in the legislation that will allow us to speak openly about this.
Well, thank you. And I just want to say the fall detection feature is really brilliant, because now you're getting into an area that CMS, the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid, really care about and are judging Medicare Advantage plans on. So that's a great addition.
In general, using Bluetooth devices, the battery drain tends to be an issue. Will your technology have a capability of shutting off or going to low power or reserve mode? And if so, how long will it take to do that? Is it something we can change over time, or does it just have an automatic setting?
So this device, for example, today the components that we use in these devices, they're consumer electronics components. They are not designed for. They're designed for as a trade-off between power consumption and cost issues and other issues. So one of the reasons we have chosen this type of device, because we could put a large battery here. So this device will work in a hearing enhancement mode for sure for 15 hours, like 8 hours of music streaming. And of course, when you don't use this hearing enhancement mode, when you switch it off, then the power consumption becomes really negligible, so it can be in a long time for a standby. So it's advancing, and again, consumer electronic devices are catching up with hearing aids, and we know that there will be soon. We are deep in this industry. We work with Bluetooth head manufacturers, with semiconductor manufacturers, because this is our main business. So we know that soon there will be devices that consume 2 or 3 times less than what we use today. And there are new chips on the horizon, consumer electronic chips that not even, they are better than what is used today in hearing aids in terms of power consumption. So it's a progress, and it will shrink in time. And as David Cunningham said yesterday, the device can hold up to 4 hours of hearing, 8 hours for hearing amplification. I believe in 2 years it will be 15 hours. So it's improving all the time.
That being said, consumer electronics, one of the biggest drawbacks for that for a lot of people is that there's always a new thing coming out. So it's always the new iPhone, it's always the new Bluetooth headset. Would that become a pattern for you guys as well with us? Will we have to buy the latest and greatest in order to keep up with everything?
Yeah, of course. Of course.
Looking forward to it.
Alexander, you didn't mention over-the-air upgrade and upgrade possibilities for these devices. It's not like you have to
maybe
swap
yes,
it out.
It's a good point. Thank you. The advantage of these devices also will be that with the improvement in technology, with the improvement in algorithms, in signal processing, with the getting more experience from this device, from the feedback from the customers about these devices, there will be upgrades of the software. Actually, the hardware, again, we have in a Bluetooth headset today, we have all the hardware that is required. What is missing is software. But the advantage here is that you can do upgrade of these devices. All the time there is a new release, you will get it automatically from your mobile phone, wirelessly to the device. So you will be always up to date with the latest technology in your device.
What about backwards compatibility with older OS systems? Some people have Android phones, and Android phones in general don't always have the same operating system. Would it be across the board compatible with every smartphone available, or would you limit it to certain smartphones?
We are planning some backward compatibility now, so the device will work. If we talk about Android, I think we are planning from the version 5. Android version 5, generation 5, it will be compatible. I don't remember about 4, but we looked at the statistics of and we will provide solution, I think, for up to maybe 90% of the phones on the market today.
Would that include BlackBerry and Windows phones?
I don't know. We haven't looked at that, so it depends on the probably no, I don't think so, because about the application, I don't think we will support the application on these platforms. This device, as if you don't need a customization, then it will work as a Bluetooth headset. The application may not work. But if even in this case you have a kind of bypass, because you can actually use it as the device can be used without the application at all. So you can actually do tuning on one device and use it with another device. So you have a person even using some kind of not a smartphone but as a feature phone. You can, like for your grandparents, then you can tune it with your device. And then you can pair it with your parents' or grandparents' device, and it will work. It just will be untunable, but all the functionality will be there.
Now, Bose has something called Sound Connect that you can have two Bluetooth pairs, headsets paired to the same device. Would that be something that your company be looking at as well?
Yes. We will, in the mode that in one of the pictures, it was shown that there is one transmitter that transmits to two devices simultaneously. So that's the maximum that Bluetooth standard provides today, and that's the maximum we can do it. That's something that we will do. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for coming.